What is up, guys? We are here with the 12th shelf of my horror sci-fi collection. Starting off with Pitch Black with Vin Diesel. This is a classic, both horror and sci-fi type of movie. Great cast. You know, Vin Diesel, Rashada Mitchell, Cole Hauser. This is before Cole Hauser was in Too Fast, Too Furious. Oh, Patrick Tatopoulos too. Look at that, from Underworld. But yeah, this was a flawless, cheaply done horror movie before Vin Diesel got big. You know, he had the string of hits. He had this, he had Fast and Furious, and he had Triple X all in the same year and got huge off of that. Rightfully so, because all three were fantastic movies. So I loved this. It was an original sci-fi idea, and they pulled it off perfectly. Then we have The Chronicles of Riddick. Good sequel, a lot bigger budget. I guess it didn't do too well in the theaters, but I enjoyed it. You know, it was a very solid movie. It wasn't one of those sequels that was just complete junk out, you know, or anything like that. Definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it before. Then we have Riddick, which was kind of the return to what Pitch Black was. It was more of a cheaper budget to where it didn't have to be a big blockbuster, which, you know, movies don't necessarily need to be huge budget, you know, blockbuster movies. They can be cheaper. And Universal is the king of doing cheaper, good movies, along with Sony. It's just all the other studios seem to rely on these huge tentpoles, and they wonder why they're losing money hand over fist, you know. Then we have Reign of Fire, which is one of my favorite movies. I love this movie. Matthew McConaughey as, you know, not doing a chick flick movie, doing more of an action, serious, villainish role in this movie, and he does it perfectly. I wish he'd do more movies like this, but they're probably not his jam. But him and Christian Bale were perfect together. You had Gerard Butler in this movie as well. I mean, the cast was phenomenal. The story was phenomenal. The visual effects were phenomenal. Everything about this movie is fantastic. I don't know if they have this on 4K. If they do, I'm going to have to upgrade. Then we have probably one of the best sci-fi series ever made. And it all started with this movie, and Stargate was a phenomenal movie, especially for its time. I love Roland Emmerich, and this is one of his best pieces of work right here. I go back and watch this at least once a year. I have to get around to watching the TV show again. I own all of them and I've seen all of them. But, you know, just for nostalgia purposes, just with everything that I have to watch, it's hard to go back and watch something I've already watched. The pains of a movie collector, right? Then we have Paycheck with Ben Affleck, Aaron Eckhart, and Uma Thurman. Again, this was a really good original sci-fi idea. I enjoyed this movie a lot. John Woo did a fantastic job, and so did the cast. This was another underrated movie, in my opinion. People didn't really say a whole lot of good things about this movie, but I love this movie. Absolutely phenomenal. Then we have The Hitcher with Sean Bean. This remake was absolutely phenomenal. I've never seen the original, but I loved Sean Bean in this role. Sean Bean's probably one of the best movie villains I've seen. Why he doesn't get more work, I don't know. But I mean, the cast of this movie and the concept and the script and all that stuff based off of the original. It's a short movie, obviously, as you can see. But I mean, this is a great watch if you haven't seen it before. Then we have The Island. Michael Bay at his best here. You know, I'm not a huge Ewan McGregor fan, but even he did well in this movie, and so did Scarlett Johansson. This is, you know, pre-Transformers Michael Bay, which I loved. I'm happy that he's out of Transformers now and hoping to see a lot of good things from him in the future. So, love this movie. I'm going to have to upgrade this to 4K as well. Then we have the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead, which is probably my favorite zombie movie of all time. It was a low-budget movie. Some of it was filmed in Milwaukee and other places. And just an awesome thing, having zombies chase after you instead of walking after you like in the other ones. This was one of the first zombie movies that did that. Walking zombies, while scary, are not as scary as zombies that are running big time to get you, especially in huge hordes. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. This is a classic for sure. Then we have 1408, which one of the best original horror movies I've ever seen. John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson did phenomenal in this movie. It was a great concept. Very well done. John Cusack, underrated actor, kind of stuck in the B-movie realm right now, which kind of sucks, but absolutely great movie. You should definitely check this out. Then we have I Am Legend with Will Smith. This gets some weird reviews, for the visual effects and all that. I guess they're making a sequel to it with him and Michael B. Jordan. I don't know if this one really, I thought it was a solid movie. I didn't hate it. A lot of people did. But, I liked it. The visual effects could have used some work. But probably most of the money went to Will Smith and his salary at this time, because at this time he was a huge star. But, I don't think this really warrants a sequel. There's other movies of his that deserve a sequel more than this. So I'm not too pumped for that. I hope it doesn't happen, to be honest. Then we have The Mist, another absolutely amazing movie. Frank Darabont, obviously does, at least he was originally part of The Walking Dead and all that as well. But this movie had me from the get-go when I saw it in the theaters as a kid. But the ending of this movie is the best ending of a movie I've ever seen. I love, with all the movies I've seen, getting a surprise at the end is just amazing. And this movie does that. So if you haven't seen it and maybe this isn't your jam, it might be worth checking out just to see what the ending is like. But yeah, definitely worth checking out in my opinion. Happy to have it in the collection. I should have gotten that 4K steelbook they released of it. Then we have Pandorum, which is another great sci-fi horror movie that I saw in the theaters. Again, kind of got a bad rap. Didn't do too well in the theaters, but I loved it. I love the twists and turns of this movie. You don't really know what's really going on until the very end, which is the type of movies I really, really enjoy, especially when they're done well throughout. And this kept my attention all the way throughout the movie. Then we have Knowing with Nicolas Cage, pre-B-movie Nicolas Cage. This is kind of the lead up to the B-movie stuff. This actually did okay in the theaters. It's a great concept, done very well. It was after this they started to have a number of flops. We had Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, and those movies that didn't do too well. The Wicker Man. While they were okay movies, they didn't do well in the theaters at all, which kind of made them into B-movie, whatever. But I do love the slip of this movie as well. But this is a great movie worth checking out. Then we have Doomsday, and this was a very solid sci-fi action movie as well. Lots of violence, lots of action. Rohana Mitra did an amazing job. Worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. From this movie is where she got, I believe she got her Underworld Rise of the Lycans role from. And she deserved it. She did just as good as Kate Beckinsale. If anyone was ever going to replace Kate Beckinsale in that franchise, it would have to be Rohana Mitra. Then we have Looper with Bruce Willis, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Emily Blunt. One of the most original, great sci-fi movies I've ever seen. Bruce Willis, shame what happened with him, obviously. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's an amazing actor. Happy to see him getting his dues here. So, you know, I hope he does more movies like this. He's so underrated. But absolutely fantastic movie, worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. Then we have Cloverfield, which is a great, this was a great found footage, sci-fi-ish, you know, first of its kind action movie. They were worried about people getting seizures watching this in the theaters. I did get a headache watching it just because the camera shook so much, but I do love the originality of this. It's not as bad on the TV at home. It was just in the theater where it was kind of rough. But other movies that kind of followed weren't as good, obviously, at all. So this is definitely, in a way, a classic for pushing the lines of certain things. Then we have 10 Cloverfield Lane. A lot of people say this is the best Cloverfield movie out there. I thought it was okay. I haven't seen the third one. But I liked the original more than I liked this. This one wasn't really a found footage type of movie either. It was just more of a concept of what was going on. But I don't think it was the same creature either, which I don't get what the whole Cloverfield universe is supposed to be if it's not the same creatures or whatever, or the same events going on. I mean, it was okay. John Goodman did great in this movie. Then we have Quarantine, which was another one of those found footage films that followed up Cloverfield. And I actually enjoyed this movie too. They had a great cast. Only instead of aliens, it's vampires. And they did a lot of things better with this movie than they did with Cloverfield. The camera wasn't as shaky, so it was a lot better. It didn't give you a headache as much. The story was still there. I loved this movie. I haven't seen the sequel. Leave comments down below if you've seen the sequel to this, if it's worth watching or not. Then we have The Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves, which is obviously a remake of the original, which I also have not seen. But this was really good. Scott Derrickson did a great job at directing this movie. Makes it extremely intense. Keanu Reeves did a really good job in the lead role. Worth checking out if you haven't seen it before. We've got Babylon AD with Vin Diesel. Not a very good movie. It's just Vin Diesel trying to prove he can do stuff beyond Fast and Furious and sequels to movies. Which I'm starting to lose confidence in the fact that maybe he's just kind of stuck. He's going to be doing Fast and Furious until he decides to retire. And that's about all he's going to do. Which sucks because he was a good actor, but, you know, this movie was not good. Then we have a classic, Independence Day. You can't go wrong with this movie. Roland Emmerich does a fantastic job. You want to talk about pushing boundaries at the time. This definitely did. This was the big, first of the big, you know, $100, $200 million movies, especially in the 90s when that was even more, you know, than it is now kind of thing. But I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal. Classic, 100%. Then we have the not-so-classic sequel. You know, this one was not good at all. It had the budget, don't get me wrong, and I love Roland Emmerich. But Will Smith not being back, it's like with that kind of budget, you might as well just have paid him anyway. Because maybe would have saved this movie, but probably not. I kind of, the ending was interesting. I kind of would have liked to have seen where it would have gone, but at the same time not. So I'm kind of on the fence. You know, you can't ruin it any more than you already did, so I guess why not make another one? And then finally we have the J.J. Abrams' first Star Trek movie. And this again is a classic. I absolutely love this movie. The visuals, the action. You know, I really hope they come out with the fourth one soon before all these actors are off to the races and doing their own thing and people don't care anymore. But absolutely phenomenal classic movie. got me into Star Trek again. But yeah, that'll do it for this shelf. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. Your support is much appreciated. I'm also over on Letterboxd. The link to that is over on the profile of this channel. Also for Christmas, I will have a special video for all of you. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, until next time, guys.